What's going on, folks, and welcome into the Rowntree studio for this week's edition of Third and Long for the NFL Sunday slate. It's week 8 and we're back in action. Now we are coming off of our first losing week of the year. So it's time to kick it into high gear and get back at it. And the first game we're going to look at is the 5-2 Ravens visiting the 1-6 Cleveland Browns. And give me the Ravens. I'm going to lay the points. I know it's a lot. I believe it's 8.5 right now. But I like the Ravens to go out and absolutely cream the Browns. First of all, Deshaun Watson is done. We don't know if Jameis Winston is a long-term answer for this Browns team at quarterback. And now they're going up against Lamar Jackson and King Henry. This is the number one offense in the league in terms of yardage, and I think they're going to go out and make a statement. Number one rushing offense, third in passing, mind you. I just don't see how the Browns keep pace with the Ravens in this one. Lay the points with the Birds. Next up, we're looking at the Tennessee Titans visiting the Detroit Lions, and let me tell you, there are some lopsided matchups this week in the NFL, and we're doing two right off the top here. And the Lions, they should dominate this football game. I think they're 7-1 favorites right now, which is absolutely absurd. But I believe it's 11.5 points. You won't catch me laying that, but juicing up a parlay with the Lions isn't the worst idea on the money line, or even buying them down to win by this game by a touchdown. We have a divisional matchup in the AFC South. It's the Indianapolis Colts at 4-3 visiting the 5-2 Houston Texans, and I like the Texans in this one. I still genuinely believe that the Colts are served better with Joe Flacco under center, and I just think the Texans at home, this offense ranking 9th in the league in terms of yardage, 8th in the league in terms of passing. I think it's just going to be too much for this terrible, terrible Colts defense to handle. So give me the Texans to go out and make a statement. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually run all over the Colts in this one. Keeping things in the AFC South, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 2-5 are hosting the Green Bay Packers at 5-2, and this should be another Jordan Love party. This defense for the Jaguars is absolutely horrendous, ranking 28th in the league in terms of yardage, and they absolutely suck. There's no better way to say it. They're awful. Look for Jordan Love to absolutely shred this defense. I really like that 7th-ranked passing offense of the Green Bay Packers, and again, they know how to run the football too. So maybe look for some rushing props from the Packers backfield. Another 1 p.m. game a lot of people will be tuning into, but maybe not for the right reasons. It's the 3-4 Cardinals visiting the 2-4 Miami Dolphins. Now, Miami, they've been horrendous this season. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They just haven't looked right, but they also haven't had Tua for most of the year. So maybe that's part of the problem. If he can come back into this Miami offense and be that system quarterback that flourishes in this system, I think he's going to have success, especially against an Arizona Cardinals team that's ranking 27th in the league in defense. I think this is a spot where the Miami Dolphins can go out and get a win on home field. It just depends on what shape Tua's in. And then obviously, I don't really want to touch on any head stuff, but you know, it doesn't look good, but he should definitely be a step up for this 30th ranked passing offense in the league. So if Tua's good to go, I do like Miami to make a statement and win one at home. Next up for our Sunday slate, we have an AFC East snooze fest, if you will. It's the Jets, it's the Pats. 3 wins combined at this point in the season is pretty pathetic. And I just don't really care. Obviously, you have Aaron Rodgers. You have an opportunity for him and Devontae Adams to finally get on the same page, as we didn't see much from Tay in his debut there against the Pittsburgh Steelers last week, where the Jets got trounced. And if you're making Russell Wilson look like an all-pro, Drake May has looked pretty darn good to start his career, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots can hang tough in this one. And 7.5 points going into Foxborough, that's a lot. I know a lot of people are just waiting for that coming out party for Aaron Rodgers as a Jet, but I'm not sure it happens in a hostile environment this week. I'm leaning towards the Patriots in the points here because I just haven't seen enough from the Jets. And let me remind you, they're the Jets. 7.5 points. That's a lot. Another rivalry game, but taking place in the NFC and in the South this time. It's the Falcons visiting the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers are going creamsicle orange. I love those jerseys. They're going to look great. Now, we have 2 high-flying offenses, both ranked top 6 in the NFL, so I think there's going to be points scored in this one. I don't really like either of these defensive stop units all that much. However, we do have to note the fact that Tampa Bay is without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You have to favor Atlanta being able to move the ball. I love Baker Mayfield. I love what he's been able to do, but without his top 2 pass catchers, I'm not too sure what this Tampa Bay offense can do because their rushing attack hasn't been nearly as successful as their passing game. So give me the Atlanta Falcons on the road. Our final game in the 1 o'clock slate sees the Philadelphia Eagles travel to Cincinnati to take on the 3-4 Bengals. Now, the Eagles, they are 4-2. And with plus 2.5 points, that seems like a pretty good idea. This Eagles team looks a lot better when A.J. Brown's back on the field. When Jalen Hurts has legitimate pass catchers, he looks like a much different quarterback. He looks more comfortable in the pocket, and we've seen that literally in real time, and we saw that last week. The Cincinnati Bengals team, they have a ton of fight. They're going to be at home. So this, if anything, is a stay-away spot, but I believe it's a dog or pass. Either give me the Eagles and the points or just stay away. I simply do not trust the Cincinnati defense that has looked horrendous this year. And in turn, I don't see how they stop Saquon Barkley. So if you're going to make a bet on this game, I'd say the value is with the Eagles and the points. Moving into the 4 p.m. slate now, we have the New Orleans Saints taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. And I can't unsee the Chargers laying an egg last week. I was so confident in them to go out and just be the better coached, the better prepared, the better all-around football team than the Arizona Cardinals, and they weren't. Turnovers, fumbles into the end zone for touchbacks. That's unacceptable. Now their offense ranks 30th in the NFL, and they're going up against a Saints team that, well, looks real shaky. Give me the under. I don't trust either of these teams. I don't really trust the Saints defense, but at this rate, this Chargers offense sucks. Justin Herbert is too good to look this bad. Give me the under between the New Orleans Saints and the Los Angeles Chargers in LA. Next up, folks, we're heading to Seattle where the 5-2 Buffalo Bills are visiting the Seattle Seahawks. Now, if I were telling you entering Week 8 that one of these two teams would lead the NFL in passing, you would probably assume it would be Josh Allen and the Bills. Wrong! It's Geno Smith, and to be honest with you, I'm not sold with this Buffalo defense. I think their rush game on offense has improved, and I think that this game could easily turn into a shootout. So look out for this game to turn into a high-scoring affair in Seattle. I think Buffalo is going to be able to find creases on offense to both run the ball and pass the ball. And then again, this Seattle pass attack, when they want to go, they can go. Let's also remember that these two teams, last time they played, they combined for 78 points. Yeah. Granted, that was 4 years ago, but sometimes you know what they say, the proof is in the pudding. Our next game, folks, is the game that was flexed to the 4 p.m. time slot. It is the Chicago Bears visiting the Washington Commanders. You have number 1 going up against number 2, Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels, and I like the Bears in this one. Yeah, their offense isn't nearly on the same page as the Commanders, and Jaden Daniels completing 75% of his passes is absurd. However, Caleb Williams has turned it on the last 3 weeks, has the highest quarterback rating out of any quarterback over the last 3 games played. So look out for Caleb Williams in this Bears offense to take a massive step forward, especially against a Commanders defense that ranks in the bottom half of the league in yards against and points against. I just think the Bears are going to be able to do whatever they want with them. And then their third-ranked defense, I think this is the best defense that Jaden Daniels is going to face. So you're going to give me the Chicago Bears at -1.5, almost even money on the money line. Give me the Bears on the money line. Let's lock and load. The 1-6 Carolina Panthers are heading to Denver to take on the Broncos, and give me this Broncos team. They're at home. I think Sean Payton has these guys firing. He's got a great relationship with Bo Nix, and their defense ranks top 10 in the NFL. There's not much more to it. They have a great rushing attack. Javonte Williams finally popped off last week. And against this Carolina defense, one thing you can definitely do against them is run the football. Any sort of player prop on Javonte Williams is a great way to go. The NFL's last undefeated team, the Kansas City Chiefs, travel to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. And give me the Chiefs. Again, that's a lot of points to be laying, but I don't like the Raiders quarterback situation, whether it's Minshew, whether it's O'Connell, whether it's who gives a shit. They're taking on the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to get creamed. Sunday Night Football. Now, this is interesting. The 3-3 Cowboys head to San Francisco to take on the 3-4 Niners, and the Niners, they look all out of sorts, and they are bleeding weapons left and right. I think this is going to come down to whichever defense wants it more, and I think this is going to be a defensive slugfest on Sunday Night Football. I don't see the Niners having nearly as much success moving the ball with Debo banged up, with Ayuk on IR. We don't have Christian McCaffrey back in this game. George Kittle, he's banged up. You're going to have to rely on rookies who have literally been shot and the running game. And Jordan Mason eventually is going to get stopped if you keep stacking the box against him. On the Cowboys side of the football, I trust Dak Prescott to move the ball, and I also trust CeeDee Lamb to get involved in the game. I believe he's got 8 straight games now, dating back to last season, with over 60 yards receiving. So there's definitely a player prop to watch there, but I like the Cowboys to win this game, and I like the under on prime time. Folks, for all of our best bets, head over to sportstree.ca right now. Download our pick package for Week 8 of the NFL, and you can get all of our picks there. We'll see you again for Monday Night Football.